Hey guys, super exciting interview today. Can't wait to get into this one. Today we are diving deep into the insights and practical wisdom from Marla's full recovery from ME/CFS. Marla, who is a successful dancer and actress from Berlin in Germany, went from being bedbound at her worst to not only regaining her health, but also really thriving, and now even opening up her own pole dance studio. So Marla will explain how things like lifelong anxiety and an eating disorder played a role in her falling ill with ME/CFS. And even more importantly, she'll share what really worked for her recovery and also what didn't help at all. So another invaluable opportunity to get inspired by an incredible recovery journey. So welcome to the channel, Marla. Thank you so much for being here.
Hey, yeah. Hello, everyone. And thank you also for letting me talk on your channel today. As I mentioned earlier, your videos were one of the first things that I just found when I searched for like recovery stuff related to ME/CFS. So for me, it's a little bit surreal to finally be here, and now I'm myself recovered and I can talk about it here.
Oh, I'm so excited that you are, but I know you had to go through kind of a nightmare to get here. So how did this all start for you?
So to sum it up, it was in 2019 that I first got sick. There was like this event that happened. So I got a rabies vaccination and some other vaccinations because I had contact to an animal, and we were not sure if there maybe was the danger to get rabies. And so then you kind of like need to get the vaccination in case the animal is infected, you know. And it was at a point in my life where I was super stressed out. I was working a lot. I was dancing the whole time. I was trying to progress in my career as a dancer. I was struggling with mental issues at that time. I will mention that later, like with panic disorder, eating disorder, like the whole life I had was just fully loaded with stress. And then I had this vaccination happening, and I got vaccinated when I was sick. So I wasn't healthy at that point. I already had a few infections going on in my body. And then this was like the last drop that just kind of, led to this overflow of everything. And my body just started to shut down after. I really felt after these few vaccinations, it were like five shots that I needed to give me. Like every time I came out of the hospital, I could not walk. I had problems with my vision and everything. And it just got worse and worse and worse. And so I ended up in, winter 2019, laying in bed all the time, feeling super sick. And at that point, I didn't know what it was. It was just like, I thought I had some kind of virus, or I don't know. I didn't know. And I went to the doctors, and they told me that maybe this tiredness and this exhaustion that I had, you know, sorry, I'm not native English, of course, that it came like from this Epstein-Barr virus that I also had. So nobody really knew, and they just told me, to rest. And I tried to rest, but it didn't get better. And then at the beginning of 2020, in the new year, there was a little bit of an improvement. So I started to feel a little bit better because I was resting for like 3 months, but still I hadn't have a diagnosis. So I just tried to push through. I tried to get back to work, back to teaching. Then also the pandemic started, as we all know. So everything just basically got even more stressful, and I just tried to somehow navigate through that year. And I felt that my body was really not capable to handle everything that I wanted to do. And so after a few months, in the end of 2020 then, so exactly 1 year later, there was this complete shutdown. So there was just a morning when I woke up and I couldn't do anything anymore. So I was just not able to do anything. I couldn't walk. It was worse than the year before. Like it was like 10 times worse. I couldn't see anything. I couldn't read anything. So in the winter 2020, that was when I really got super sick, like this big crash. So it took me 1 year to get at this worst point, because I've been pushing through for a year, not knowing what I had. And this was then the result. Yeah.
That sounds terrifying.
Yeah, it was.
What did you think when that happened?
So I was really in a state of just anxiety and panic. I was laying in bed and I couldn't relax for a single second. And not just because of that anxiety thing that I had, but also now that I lost full control over my body. It was like my worst nightmares came true, because I was always afraid of becoming sick or maybe like my body not working. And now this happened, and I had really like, I don't know how you call that, but I was just in a state of anxiety. I couldn't do anything, and I was panicking the whole time. I tried to go to different hospitals, so my family drove me, or I took a taxi to find out what was going on. But as we maybe all know, like all the tests and results, they came back normal, so there was like nothing going on. And yeah, so I was just like a tiny thing full of anxiety, and I really thought that this could be like the end or something, because it just didn't make any sense that I couldn't move and couldn't, like, really, I was walking a few steps and I just fell down to the floor. Like, I don't know, like it's crazy. And also like when I just try to, for example, read something or talk to somebody, it was like the lights just went out. Like I couldn't have my eyes open because it was so exhausting to have any kind of light or like sound coming to me, that it was just like shutting down. I don't like to remember that time. But if I just get into it, then I remember it was like just like hell. I think I have put it somewhere, that I don't need to think about it all the time. But it was really like the worst thing that ever happened to me.
I am so sorry, Marla, that you had to go through that. That sounds horrifying and terrifying. So scary. How do you even like move forward from there when you can't even open your eyes? How do you begin to start figuring out what to do to get better?
So the first 3 months, I didn't do anything. I was just kind of trying to accept that this has happened. Also, the circumstances were not the best. I was moving houses and I was just in my new flat, and I just had a bed and like nothing else. And also my boyfriend and we had a breakup because he couldn't handle the whole thing. And yeah, there was a lot of conflicts going on, and then he kind of left the house. We are back together now, so everything's fine. But at that point, I think he just didn't know how to react or so. Yeah, so the first time, as I said, I resignated. Is that how we say it in English? Like when you just try to accept and you're like, okay, well, that's it. Then I'm just gonna die here. And yeah, I tried to not care, because if I would have cared so much, then I maybe would have gone crazy, So I tried to just be there and kind of, yeah, as I said, accept the situation. And at some point, I thought, whatever I have, there must be a solution to it. Like everything, this has to get better. So, and when I kind of like recollected some energy, because I was resting the whole time, I first Googled some symptoms on my phone, like really took 5 minutes, Google something, then put the phone back. And so I started to visit doctors again to, finally get a diagnosis. I have Googled some things and I found this thing called chronic fatigue syndrome. And I was like, oh, yeah, maybe it's this, so I found out some information about this illness and I thought, okay, I think this is what I have. And yeah, so then over the next months, I got a diagnosis finally. And from there on, I basically just started Googling, because I thought from every illness on this earth, there is at least one person who survived it and who like recovered. So there need to be people out there who also recovered from ME/CFS. And this is how it started to not improve then, but that I kind of saw that little window. Okay, maybe there is something that I can do. to improve. So this was kind of like it started.
What was it like getting a diagnosis in Germany? How widely acknowledged or how aware is the conventional medical community of this condition?
So I think it got better now after this whole pandemic long COVID thing. And we have the Charité in Berlin. So I live in Berlin. What is this big hospital who also have this research point for ME/CFS or for chronic fatigue syndrome and now for long COVID as well. But it's really full, so you don't get an appointment there usually. So it's really hard, even though for Berlin resident people to get into this kind of specific clinic and to so I tried it 2 times, but I didn't get in. And it's basically people don't really know about the conditions. Doctors don't really know. So I think I just got the diagnosis because I was really coming with this guess to the doctor, like, hey, did you ever hear about ME/CFS? I think this could maybe be something that I have. And then they gave me the specific papers to see specific specialists to do all the certain tests. And then after everything came back normal, then they could give me the diagnosis, okay, then it must be ME/CFS. You know, like there's not this one test that you do and then they know you have it, but it's more like that you do all other tests, and if they're all like without any result, then it's ME/CFS.
Yeah, it's very much a diagnosis of exclusion, like ruling out everything else and then seeing if your symptoms fit the diagnostic criteria. And if you do, then that seems to be where we end up.
Yes, and also with this history of this Epstein-Barr virus, EBV, or how you call it, right? Yeah, so also based on that, what I told them, they kind of had the solution, okay, yeah, it's ME/CFS.
And when you got the diagnosis, what did they tell you to do?
So basically, the first sentence was like, you can be happy if you don't end up in a wheelchair. So this was what I heard. And the other thing, so I visited many doctors. They were telling me like, rest, eventually it will get better. Yeah, and avoid any kind of, what they all tell you, avoid any kind of stress, avoid any kind of big movement. So there was not a plan that the doctors could give me or any guess. It was just like, we're sorry. We hope it won't be that bad. And yeah, wishing you all the best.
And just sit still and don't be stressed out and
exactly
rest for the rest of your life. Nice to meet you, Marla. Next.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Especially coming from being a dancer and just so active. It must have felt like smashing into a brick wall when your life just comes to a halt so fast.
Yeah, I think we all can relate with that because usually the people who get this illness are very active persons. For me, it was always the worst thing to happen that I can't move or can't do anything because usually I get up in the morning, I do 1,000 things, I want to move the whole day. So, of course, it was like incredibly bad.
It was always validating for me too to hear that. And it's, of course, not everybody was a super active person. I sometimes get messages. I'm like, I know everyone says that. I wasn't. Sometimes it's other things. It's, chronic anxiety or chronic caregiver or just different things that were taxing them. But a lot of people were super active. And it always made me feel better to hear that because I carried around sort of almost like blame or shame with this illness. I used to say, you might as well call it crazy lazy syndrome because that's how it sounds when I tell people this is what I have. And I just wanted to be like, no, there's no way I would choose this. I was always trying to prove, like, look what I was doing. Why would I change my life? Why would I stop all of that overnight? So
exactly.
It's unfortunate that it happens to so many, it's unfortunate that it happens to anybody, but I think it's just further solidifies or validates what everyone is facing is that this is not that anyone's going to choose this. That's ridiculous. So the doctors really had nothing for you, but you're sitting here now. So eventually you figured some things out. So where did you go from there?
As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, in our video here, I found your YouTube videos and also like a few others. So I first got some information where I saw, oh, here is some positive stuff. There is maybe like, there are people who really recovered and it's not a scam. It's like not a fake thing or something. And so I started watching recovery stories. I started to just go deeper into that whole of finding informations out there. Yeah, so this first gave me like some hope to do something and also to try things out. And another point was that I joined the CFS health program, which is not that I say I just recovered because I did this program, but it was part of the process. So I found out that there is this sweet spot between doing something but not doing too much and slowly rebuilding trust to the body. So I just basically made research and found information that I then tried it out, and it either worked or not. And so I kind of like navigated my way into finding a recovery routine or something that I can do every day, even though it's super little things. And so this was the starting point. And then, of course, if one tiny thing works, then you gain so much more confidence because you see, oh, I can leave the house for like 2 minutes. So there must be something that I did right, or like something that helped my body. And I saw, okay, maybe it will take ages, but there is something that I can do. And this really helped me to see that I can do something myself. Yeah.
What were some of those little things that started helping you out?
Mm-hmm. It was like, so there are many little things. So first of all, I tried to not be scared all the time and not be scared of even crashing more or so. Because first I was just laying around and I thought, if I'm going to do one step, I'm going to crash again. And then everything will be even worse. So I tried to work on this anxiety by relaxing, by trying to hear music that relaxes me, or doing some meditation programs. So anything I could find out there that was helping me to just calm a little bit down and to calm my nervous system, which can be super different things. It could be looking at an old photo of me being with my horse or something. So I just try to have these little moments in a day where I felt normal or good for like a minute or so. And this helped me then to gain some also like mental energy to just move up from the couch or from the bed and then try something active. Yeah, and then I wrote like a little plan what I can do and for how long I can do it. Yeah, so I can't really tell what's that one thing that helped, but it was like the combination of stopping to be scared and then trying out little things, and if they work out, making a note that it works and trying it again the other day. Yeah, so basically like this.
Yeah, that fear one is a big one that comes up a lot. So little things got you going and built your confidence. It started building hope from the start, it sounds like. So what were some of the bigger things where you're like, okay, I'm really moving here, I'm really getting someplace?
So it was in summer 2021 that I first noticed some big steps. I have been in that CFS health program for like 3 months or so, and I found some techniques to calm myself, to calm my nervous system, to just like relax into the moment. And I had these little breakthrough moments that I first made walks to the shopping market to like get a few things on my own. And I also tried out the bike again, because I thought, okay, maybe walking is a little bit too exhausting, but on the other hand, I also want to be outside, to have some sun and to have the feeling of, okay, I can do something. I can be out there with other people in the normal life. And the bike was really a game changer because I could like kind of like sit and calm, but in the same time activate my muscles in a really, really slow way. And this summer just gave me so much confidence that I started to gain things back, a little bit of strength, a little bit of doing things on my own, like the shopping or going out with my dog for a few steps. So I think, yeah, this summer was really like one of the bigger steps where I saw this is going somewhere. And I started to really believe, okay, there is a way to recover. Maybe not fully, I didn't know at that point, but there is a way to improve your situation, or my situation in that case. Yeah, so, and then from there it just went up.
And what made it just go up?
So it was really finding out that I need to have this balance between doing something and resting. And also for me, really, really important was to combine activity and this so-called brain retraining, whatever you call it, but this working on your mind and on your thoughts and on your beliefs in the same time when you're active. So not just like meditating on the sofa, but more like meditating during the walking. So for example, I was walking outside and I really gave my body the signals, I'm strong, I have strong legs, every step is good for me. So just my own kind of sentences that that helped me personally to give my body the signals, hey, you can do that. I mean, it sounds a little bit, it sounds so easy, like it's hard to explain. It's a complicated process. Like it's not just that you go out and like, hey, I'm strong, and then you walk like 1,000 meters. But yeah, you know, like combining this mental work with the activity, so the body feels safe while it does something. So that's what I tried, and it worked for me. It worked.
Yeah, when I first started hearing about brain retraining programs, it sounded so mysterious, and I don't understand what this is. And then they started to think, oh, okay, so you go to these classes and you learn these techniques, and then you sit on your couch or whatever, and you do these activities, and it can be that. But now I've just really done a deep dive on brain retraining, and it's something we've all been doing our whole lives. There's nothing really mysterious to it. Brain retraining is involved in everything we do, and for a lot of us, the brain retraining is what got us into this place of having all these symptoms. We just didn't know that it was happening. So yeah, and with my own recovery, it was a lot of gradually increasing activity, but also finally being at peace with it, not being scared of it, being like, I can do this. 2 weeks ago, I could only do 1 minute. Now I'm at 2 minutes. I know next week I'll be at 3 minutes, even if I feel a little bit worse. But just those constant messages of it, just it's okay, and being at peace with it. Like if you have a little symptom flare, it's like, okay, I saw that coming. It's fine. I'm nothing to freak out over. Tomorrow will be better. So yeah, I think a lot of people are doing brain retraining, and it can look like many different things, and it doesn't even have to come from a specific program. It's just having the awareness of those thoughts and what you're telling yourself and your emotions and your reactions to things is that.
Exactly. I think the reaction is really a key point, because I also tried programs that didn't work for me. And in the end, it wasn't a program for the brain retraining that helped me, but more like thinking about, okay, what is calming my mind, or what is helping me? And for me, it was like specific music or photos or specific sentences that were not written in a program, but where I felt, okay, they helped me to come out of this, as we all say, fight or flight mode, right? This is a very, we all hear it always in these videos. But to come out of there. So as you just said, I think it's really about how I react to symptoms, to flare-ups, to situations, and to work on that. So to not add more and more stress to specific situations really helps then to deal, for example, with a flare-up, and then to improve the next days again. So that's what I learned.
So you obviously made big leaps and bounds with your recovery from there, and got to a place where you are now dancing again and have your own studio. So what did that journey from there to here look like?
Starting from that small improvements that I had in that summer 2021, I just thought I should start to dance again, even though I may not be ready at that point. And in the end, this really helped me, because I was reintegrating something into my life that I really love. So I was not happy with the idea of trying out yoga now or something, because I wanted to dance and I wanted to do pole dance, and it's really, really exhausting. But I thought if I try it in small steps, then maybe it will go good and I can gain it back. And yes, basically this is just what happened a year after. So I practiced to dance for a few minutes every day, so like 1-2 minutes, and to just build a good connection to it. For example, I had my pole at home, and I first started with just touching the pole and trying not to feel any pressure, but more like enjoying that I can stand here with the pole and maybe making some soft little moves. And yeah, then so I think it was like this, that I did something that really made me happy, and where I saw a goal because I wanted to get back into teaching, led me to really improve over the next year. So in summer 2022, I was back in the studio teaching my first beginner classes back then, right 2 years or 2.5 years after I got sick and from my worst point. I was back into teaching again. And at first it felt like it was not going very well, because I was extremely exhausted after I had little crashes and flare-ups, and there were like periods where I really, laid in bed for another week. But I really tried to not go crazy over it or to overthink it or to go back into that hole of, oh my God, I'm going to be very, very sick again. So I kept on doing what I loved, but trying to do it in a good way, so in a stable way, like not overdoing it. And I guess that's how I kind of like gained the strength physically, but also mentally back to go back into this sport and into my job as a pole dance teacher and dancer in general. Yeah, and it was really you could really see that first there were these like little steps happening in a long time, but then there were like coming bigger steps in a very short time. You know what I'm trying to say? So once I started the dancing and the teaching, after 3 months, I was much more healthier and much more physically stable and strong.
So once you got to that point, the success with your health started happening quickly. Kind of like you're on this trajectory, and then all of a sudden, even though it was bumpy, but it was much faster going the right direction.
And of course, I can only talk about it now in a short window. So of course, the way to this, so the way until this point, it was going like this all the time. It wasn't that I started one thing, it went good, and then I went up. But to sum it up, I could really make big improvements in just 2.5 years. Yeah. And then now we're in the end of 2023, and I'm back really into just living a really healthy life with everything I dreamed of. And so it's really possible to just gain full health back or be healthier than before. Because now I'm not anymore dealing with any anxiety or panic disorders. I mean, of course, I will never be like another person who never worries about something. So I still have my issues and topics. But I think I'm really healthier than I have been ever before. What's crazy.
And it's such a good point, such a good takeaway, I think, because I've come to learn and understand that the severity of symptoms in our body is very rarely correlated or not a good measure for the severity of damage in our body. Because you were at a point where you felt like you were dying, like your symptoms were very severe, and yet here you are. So I think that's just such an important message that, some people feel like, well, I'm this sick, there's no coming back from this. Maybe I'll get halfway there. But it really can happen, like, because your whole journey has been, your transformation is really incredible.
Yeah, for me it's as well, because then the year 2023 was like so incredible, because just everything has happened that I always wanted. So I gained my full health back. I was back into dancing better than ever before. I won a competition, or like placed second, but for me it's like won. Then in summer I just opened my own studio, and if I wanted these things always before, but I always struggled with my health. Like even before getting sick with ME/CFS, I always had infections and stuff, and stress and anxiety and everything. And I never really came to a point where I was, stable and happy and successful with what I do. And then after this whole journey through this, ME/CFS hole and the recovery, like things just came. Like I didn't even do something for it. I was just living my life and trying to live it sustainable and try to watch my health mentally and physically. And then the things just came to me, and like it kind of gave me the proof that if I watch myself, if I listen to myself, then I can also like reach the goals that I set. Because before it was like I was putting some goal, but then I couldn't reach it because there was coming something in the way, some health stuff. And now I'm like, I trust more, and then it just flows.
Well, I'm incredibly happy for you, Marla. I'm sorry you've had to go through this absolute nightmare, but it seems that you're in an even better place than you were before, and which so often seems to happen. So that's really incredible. I'm very happy. Thank you for taking the time to share all of this today.
Thank you, Raelan.
All right. Well, this has been really amazing, really insightful as always. And I also want to send a massive hug out to Jenny Adams. Thank you for joining the channel. I really appreciate you. Big, big hugs to you. And for those of you watching, Marla has a couple of things. She's got a YouTube channel. She also has an Instagram account. And I know, Marla, you've mentioned that your YouTube channel is not really active anymore. I really want to mention it because it's all in German. So and people tell me that we're really lacking information and resources about these conditions that are in German. So that will be linked in the video description if this is something that you are looking for. So yeah, thank you again, Marla. Thank you to those of you watching. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. I hope you got something out of it, and I hope to see you in this next video.